Hello, it is Stephanie at Shy Notebooks. Do you guys like that name? I just picked it and I love it. I am here with my July wrap-up. I read 7 books in July. First, let's start off with some of the not so great books I read, and we will start off with the little baby book I read, The Strange Case of Benjamin Button. But first of all, what the heck was this book? The version of this book that I had was kind of like a kid's book. It was really slim and it had illustrations, and while the writing was sometimes very beautiful, it was just really weird. Like, this is what happens when you reverse age. First you're really sad and confused and people are mad at you about it, and then you're really, okay, and people are still kind of mad at you about it, and then you're even more sad and confused. And it was just very sad. Like, that is honestly the way to describe this book. Maybe that was like the commentary on it, right? That there's just like one time in your life that you're really gonna make it in the world. And anyway, another book that I read was also a WTF kind of book. It's called Fell of Dark. And I read this because I saw a good review on it, and I knew it was going to be kind of dark, a la title. It's about 2 boys. One does miracles, and one just kind of hears voices in his head. It can really like show you what it's like to live in a broken home, what it's like to be loved. It's supposed to be like this boy and then this boy, and they do special things. What will happen when they meet? What will happen when they meet? I read the whole book in like a night, and I was really disappointed. And again, it was sad and had really interesting insight in some ways, but overall it was just kind of depressing. Alright, now let's move on to the books that I thought were pretty good. First one is gonna be I Am Princess X by Sherry Priest. And I just bought this book at the bookstore because it just looked really cool. It was about 2 best friends who create this character called Princess X. There's my terrible rendition of that. One of them dies when they're younger, and when her friend comes back to that city a few years later, she starts seeing Princess X start popping up on like websites and just around the city, and she's like, is my friend still alive? Because what is this? And it was just a really cool mystery, and my favorite part of it was that they had actual illustrations like of the comic book that has been published online in the book. There are like these cool clues and Easter eggs that apply to real life, and I just really like that kind of stuff. Here's some illustrations that I found online. I do own the book, but I lent it to a friend. Otherwise, I'd be able to show you guys in real life. This art style was just really cool, and here's a picture of the type of quest that the friend that's alive goes on. She's looking for keys, and it was just very unique and very fun. The characters are fairly simple, but I think that just the medium of the book really played out well. Now, the other book I read, I talked about briefly in another video. It was called Lois Lane Fallout. And I'm also just gonna use some mixed media Lois Lane here. I don't like Lois Lane. I've always thought she was either in the way or just kind of nosy and obnoxious. So it was really cool to see her in this medium. It was a little bit of a sci-fi futuristic type book, but almost like in a Scooby-Doo kind of way. There's a video game that's kind of mentally taking over people, and they're becoming drone-like. So Lois Lane just figures out what's going on in like a teenage caper sort of way. It was just cool. I liked it. It was fun. I like the little nods to Smallville Guy and how we know that he's Superman, but Lois Lane does not. So it was cool to see the both of them in that way. Now let's move on to the books I enjoyed the most this month, but it wasn't so much enjoyment as much as I was really surprised by them. The first book is The Great Gatsby. I thought I had read this book in high school, but when I actually read it, I didn't remember reading it. So I don't think I actually did. I think I just kind of skimmed it. Like, I cheated when I was in high school and probably read Spark Notes or something. But I was really surprised by the writing. I still think that ultimately it was really, really sad. I did not like one main character in particular, Tom Buchanan, Daisy's husband, because he was just a really terrible person. I mean, they are all kind of terrible people, but he was just kind of like that ignorant type of terrible, where he would just hate you because you're a woman or not white, and that really made me mad. For me, it was just ultimately very tragic. It was even hard for me to watch the movie that's on Netflix. I don't know, it was just a very discouraging look on life. But the writing was really beautiful, and that's why I'm saying that it was one of the top books that surprised me this month. The other one is along those same lines. It was Bridge to Terabithia. I saw the movie when I was a kid, but all I remembered was someone died, sadness, don't want to watch that. I have never really explored this world, or I don't really remember anything about it. So it was really surprising the way that the book had a really whimsical tone to it, and it really tried to appreciate beauty in the world. I really loved that. I want to own this book for my future library, I guess, for my kids, and I'm really glad that I read it. My last book that I'll talk about is one of my favorites. Let me tell you guys the story. I have been looking for movies to look forward to that are not Marvel movies or retellings or part of a chain. I was looking forward to this movie called In the Heart of the Sea, mostly because it looked really beautiful and it looked like something that I would be interested in. But lo and behold, it was based on a book called In the Heart of the Sea, which is based on a true story which inspired Moby Dick. So it's just kind of all over the place. I really liked the way this was written. I do not read nonfiction because I just don't think I could ever get through it. In this book, we have whalers who are specifically hunting for sperm whale. Just like Moby Dick, there was just one that kind of went a little bit crazy. So this whale hit the boat. Long story short, everybody was stranded for days. It was mostly the story about these men and all the horrors that they kind of faced while they were going in survival mode. I really appreciated the research that went into this, as well as the survival science or the biology that had to go behind it, as well as the descriptions of the oceans and other shipwrecks that kind of were along the same lines or even along the same timeline. Some people definitely died. By some, I mean a lot of people died. I gave this book 3 stars out of 5 stars because of particular instances where it was too heavy-hearted for me to really enjoy, but I really was inspired to read more nonfiction because I always want to explore more history and more science. I really like that kind of stuff. But I'm always afraid that the books just won't cut it and somehow I'll find a documentary on something one day. Because of this, it just kind of gave me hope that I'll find some nonfiction that I will like. July was just kind of sad. I read so many books that all very much depressed me. I think that the best one was Lois Lane Fallout. It was just really fun. I would definitely look forward to the sequel of it. So thanks again for watching my July wrap up, and I will see you guys next month for my August wrap up. Bye!